The massive Galactic Federation spaceship hung in orbit around an unexplored planet. Its sleek, silver hull reflected the light of a distant sun. Inside, the ship buzzed with activity. Alien crew members of various shapes and sizes hurried through the corridors. Something big was about to happen. Commander Zixthor stood tall in the ship's main meeting room. His 4 eyes blinked nervously as he waited for his crew to arrive. Zixthor was known across the galaxy for his tough decisions and even tougher actions. But today, even he felt a bit scared. As the room filled with curious crew members, Zixthor cleared his throat. "Attention, everyone," he said in a deep, rumbling voice. "We have a dangerous mission ahead, but I have a secret weapon that will help us succeed." The alien crew members looked at each other with worry. What could be so dangerous that even their fearless leader seemed nervous? Zixthor pressed a button on his wrist device. A large door at the back of the room slowly opened. "I present to you," he announced, "the Beast." From the shadows emerged a robotic creature. It walked on 4 legs and had a long, pointed snout. Its metal body gleamed under the bright lights of the meeting room. Red eyes glowed menacingly, and sharp teeth peeked out from its jaw. The crew gasped in fear. Some even backed away, pressing themselves against the walls. "This is the K9 unit," Zixthor explained. "It was designed by our top engineers to be the ultimate weapon. It can track any target, fight any enemy, and survive in the harshest conditions." As if to prove his point, the K9 unit let out a mechanical growl that echoed through the room. Several crew members whimpered in response. Just then, the door to the meeting room slid open. Sarah Chen, the human diplomat assigned to the Galactic Federation, walked in. "Sorry I'm late," she said, looking around the room. "What did I miss?" Sarah's eyes landed on the K9 unit, but instead of showing fear like the others, her face lit up with a big smile. "Oh my gosh," she exclaimed, rushing towards the robotic creature. "What a cute pup." The room fell silent. Every alien, including Commander Zixthor, watched in shock as Sarah approached the Beast without any fear. Sarah knelt down in front of the K9 unit. "Hey there, buddy," she said in a soft voice. She reached out and gently patted its metal head. To everyone's surprise, the K9 unit didn't attack. Instead, it tilted its head, looking curiously at Sarah. "Who's a good boy?" Sarah cooed, scratching behind the robot's ears. "You are. Yes, you are." The K9 unit's tail began to wag. It made a sound that was half growl, half purr. Then, to the utter amazement of all the aliens watching, it nuzzled its head against Sarah's hand. Zixthor's 4 eyes blinked rapidly in confusion. "Ms. Chen," he said, his voice shaking slightly. What are you doing?" "That's a dangerous weapon." Sarah looked up, still petting the K9 unit. "This little guy, he's not dangerous. He's adorable." But it's the Beast," one of the alien crew members squeaked. Sarah laughed. "This isn't a beast. It's a dog. Well, a robot dog, but still, where I come from, dogs are man's best friend." The aliens looked at each other, confused. "Best friend?" Zixthor asked. Sarah stood up, and the K9 unit sat obediently at her feet. "Yes, dogs have been companions to humans for thousands of years. They're loyal, friendly, and very smart. We train them to help us in all sorts of ways, as guides, as rescuers, even in our military." The alien crew members began to creep closer, their fear slowly turning to curiosity. "But how can you not be afraid?" one of them asked. "It looks so fierce." Sarah smiled. "Sometimes things that look scary at first can turn out to be wonderful friends. You just need to give them a chance." To prove her point, Sarah turned to the K9 unit. "Sit," she commanded. The robot dog immediately sat down. "Lie down," Sarah said next. The K9 unit lowered itself to the ground. "Roll over," she said with a grin. To everyone's amazement, the fearsome beast rolled onto its back, its metal legs waving in the air. The room erupted in amazed chatter. Some of the braver crew members came forward to pet the K-9 unit, which welcomed their touch with happy tail wags. Commander Zixthor watched all of this with growing interest. He had intended the K-9 unit to be a weapon of fear. But now, seeing how it responded to kindness, he began to think of new possibilities. "Ms. Chen," he said, approaching Sarah, "I think we may need to reconsider our strategy for the upcoming mission. Would you be willing to work with the K-9 unit? To train it, perhaps?" Sarah's eyes lit up. "I'd be honored, Commander. I think this little guy has a lot of potential." As Sarah continued to play with the K-9 unit, surrounded by curious aliens, Zixthor couldn't help but smile. He had a feeling that this mission was going to be very different from what he had planned. And somehow, that didn't seem like a bad thing at all. 2 days had passed since the surprising introduction of the K-9 unit. The Galactic Federation spaceship was now preparing to land on the unexplored planet below. Commander Zixthor stood at the bridge, his 4 eyes fixed on the swirling green and blue orb growing larger in the view screen. "Are we ready for the landing, Officer Blorb?" Zixthor asked, turning to his chief of operations. Officer Blorb, a blob-like alien with tentacles for arms, gurgled in response. "Yes, Commander, but I must express my concerns again. This planet's atmosphere is highly toxic to most species in our database." Zixthor nodded gravely. "That's precisely why we're here, Blorb. Our mission is to collect samples of the planet's unique flora. The scientists believe it could lead to breakthroughs in medicine." Just then, Sarah Chen entered the bridge, the K-9 unit trotting obediently at her heels. The robot dog had become her constant companion over the past 2 days. "Ah, Ms. Chen," Zixthor said, his tone a mix of respect and lingering bewilderment. "Are you and the cute pup ready for the mission?" Sarah grinned. "We sure are, Commander. Buddy here is equipped with the best sensor technology in the galaxy. If there's something worth finding down there, he'll sniff it out." Several alien crew members chuckled at Sarah's use of the word sniff for a robot. They were still getting used to her human expressions. As the ship began its descent, turbulence rocked the bridge. Red warning lights flashed, and alarms blared. "What's happening?" Zixthor demanded. Officer Blorp's tentacles flew over the control panel. "The planet's magnetic field is stronger than we anticipated. It's interfering with our systems." The ship shuddered violently. Crew members held onto their stations for dear life. Sarah hugged the K-9 unit close, whispering words of comfort to the robot dog. With a bone-jarring thud, the ship crash-landed on the planet's surface. For a moment, everything was silent. Then, Zixthor's voice rang out. "Status report." One by one, the crew members reported in. Miraculously, no one was seriously hurt, but the news wasn't all good. "Commander," Officer Blorp said, his voice quivering, "the ship's main power core is damaged. We're running on auxiliary power, but it won't last long in this atmosphere." Zixthor's face darkened. "How long do we have?" 6 hours, maybe less," Blorp replied. The tension in the room was palpable. 6 hours to complete their mission and fix the ship, or they'd be stranded on this toxic planet forever. Sarah stepped forward. "Commander, let me take Buddy out to search for the plants we need. His systems are more robust than ours. He can withstand the atmosphere." Zixthor considered for a moment, then nodded. "All right, Ms. Chen. But be careful. We don't know what's out there." Sarah suited up in a protective suit, specially designed to withstand the planet's toxic atmosphere. The K-9 unit, already equipped to handle harsh environments, stood ready by the airlock. As the outer doors opened, a gust of greenish air swirled into the chamber. Sarah took a deep breath inside her helmet and stepped out onto the alien world, the K-9 unit at her side. The landscape was like nothing Sarah had ever seen. Towering structures that looked like a cross between trees and crystals stretched towards the murky sky. The ground beneath her feet pulsed with an eerie bioluminescent glow. "All right, Buddy, Sarah said, patting the K9 unit's head. "Let's find those plants." They set off into the alien forest. The K9 unit's sensors swept the area, searching for the specific biochemical signatures they needed. Sarah followed, her eyes wide with wonder at the strange world around them. Suddenly, the K9 unit stopped. Its ears, actually sophisticated antenna arrays, swiveled towards a dense cluster of crystal trees. "What is it, boy?" Sarah asked, falling easily into the familiar pattern of talking to a dog. The robot dog let out a series of beeps and whirs. Sarah checked the readout on her suit's computer. "Good job, buddy," she exclaimed. "You found a whole grove of the plants we need." As they approached the grove, Sarah's excitement turned to concern. The plants they needed were growing on the sides of a deep ravine. Collecting samples would be dangerous. Just as Sarah was considering how to proceed, a low rumble shook the ground. From the ravine rose a massive creature. It looked like a cross between an earthworm and a dragon, its segmented body covered in iridescent scales. The creature roared, its breath causing the crystal trees to vibrate. It had been sleeping in the ravine, and Sarah and the K9 unit had accidentally woken it up. Sarah froze, her heart pounding. The K9 unit, however, sprang into action. It positioned itself between Sarah and the creature, its metal body tensed for a fight. "No, buddy," Sarah said quickly. "We're not here to fight." Instead of attacking, Sarah did something that would have made Commander Zixthor's 4 eyes pop out of his head. She began to sing. It was an old lullaby her grandmother used to sing to her. The sound, amplified by her suit's speakers, echoed across the alien landscape. To Sarah's amazement, the creature stopped roaring. It cocked its enormous head, listening to the unfamiliar melody. Slowly, its aggressive posture relaxed. The K9 unit, picking up on Sarah's strategy, began to emit a soft, soothing hum that complemented Sarah's song. Incredibly, the giant creature yawned, showing rows of gleaming teeth. Then, to Sarah's relief, it slowly lowered itself back into the ravine, apparently deciding that these strange visitors weren't worth the trouble. With the danger past, Sarah and the K9 unit quickly collected the plant samples they needed. As they hurried back to the ship, Sarah couldn't help but laugh. "Wait until the commander hears about this," she said to the K9 unit. "I don't think singing to the local wildlife was in the mission briefing." The robot dog wagged its tail in response, its sensors still alert for any more surprises this alien world might have in store for them. Sarah and the K9 unit rushed back to the crashed spaceship, their mission successful but time running short. The toxic atmosphere swirled around them, a constant reminder of the danger they faced on this alien world. As they approached the ship, Sarah's heart sank. A group of crew members were outside, frantically working on the damaged hull. Things looked worse than when they had left. Commander Zixthor spotted them and hurried over, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly in what Sarah had learned was a sign of stress. "Miss Chen, thank the galactic spirits you're back," he said. "Did you find the plants?" Sarah nodded, holding up a container filled with glowing, crystal-like flora. "We got them, Commander. But what's going on here?" Zixthor's face darkened. "The damage is worse than we thought. Officer Blorp says we now have less than 2 hours before the auxiliary power fails completely." Sarah's stomach dropped. 2 hours wasn't nearly enough time to fix the ship and get off this toxic planet. Suddenly, the K9 unit started beeping urgently. Its sensors were picking up something approaching, something big. "Oh no," Sarah whispered. "I think our friend from the ravine followed us home." The ground began to shake. From the alien forest emerged the massive worm dragon creature they had encountered earlier. The crew members working on the ship scattered in panic. But Sarah noticed something different about the creature this time. It wasn't roaring or showing signs of aggression. Instead, it seemed curious. "Wait," Sarah called out as Zixthor reached for his weapon. "I don't think it's here to attack us." The creature slithered closer, its iridescent scales shimmering in the eerie light of the alien world. It lowered its huge head, bringing one enormous eye level with Sarah. To everyone's amazement, the creature began to hum. It was the same soothing tone that the K9 unit had produced earlier. It's mimicking Buddy's calming sound, Sarah realized aloud. An idea began to form in her mind. Commander, I think this creature might be able to help us. Zixthor looked at her like she had gone mad. Help us? Ms. Chen, that thing could swallow our ship whole. Exactly, Sarah said with a grin. Its size and strength might be just what we need. With the K9 unit by her side, Sarah slowly approached the creature. She began to hum the lullaby again, and the creature's eyes seemed to light up with recognition. We need your help, Sarah said softly, unsure if the creature could understand her words, but hoping it could sense her intent. Our ship is broken. We can't leave. Can you help us? To everyone's astonishment, the creature nodded its massive head. It then turned its attention to the damaged part of the ship. What happened next was nothing short of miraculous. The creature extended a long forked tongue. From it dripped a thick, silvery liquid that looked almost metallic. Where this liquid touched the ship's hull, it seemed to merge with the metal, repairing the damage. Incredible, Zixthor breathed. Its saliva must have powerful regenerative properties. The alien crew watched in awe as the creature methodically moved along the length of the ship, its strange saliva knitting together broken metal and sealing ruptured panels. While this was happening, Sarah had another idea. She turned to the K9 unit. Buddy, can you analyze this atmosphere? Find out what makes it toxic to the crew. The robot dog's sensors whirred into action. After a few moments, it produced a series of beeps and whistles. Sarah checked the readout on her suit's computer. Commander, she called out excitedly. Buddy's identified the toxic component in the air. It's a type of spore from the local plant life. And get this, the plants we collected produce an enzyme that neutralizes these spores. Zixthor's eyes widened with understanding. So if we can disperse this enzyme, we could make the atmosphere safe for the crew. At least temporarily. Sarah finished. As the worm dragon creature finished repairing the ship's hull, the crew sprang into action. They quickly devised a way to process the collected plants and release the enzyme into the air around the ship. Within minutes, the sickly green tinge in the air began to clear. Crew members cautiously removed their protective gear, breathing easily for the first time since they landed. With the immediate dangers addressed, Zixthor turned to Sarah, his expression a mix of awe and gratitude. Ms. Chen, I must admit, when we first met, I thought humans were, well, soft, weak, even, but you've proven me wrong. Your kindness, your ability to communicate with other species, these are strengths I never understood before. Sarah smiled. Thank you, Commander, but I couldn't have done any of this without Buddy. She patted the K9 unit's head affectionately. The worm dragon creature, seemingly satisfied with its work, began to retreat back to its forest home. But before it left, it gently nuzzled the K9 unit, as if saying goodbye to a new friend. As the creature disappeared into the alien landscape, Officer Blorp approached. Commander, the ship's systems are back online. We're ready for takeoff. Zixthor nodded. Excellent. Let's get off this planet before anything else goes wrong. He paused, then added with a chuckle, though I must say, this mission turned out far more interesting than I expected. As they boarded the ship, Sarah took one last look at the strange, beautiful world they were leaving behind. You know, Commander, she said thoughtfully, I think we've only scratched the surface of what this planet has to offer. Maybe we should plan a return mission. With better preparation this time, of course. Zixthor considered this for a moment, then nodded. I think you might be right, Ms. Chen. And next time, we'll make sure to bring plenty of dog treats for our cute pup here. The K9 unit wagged its tail enthusiastically, and as the ship's engines roared to life, Sarah couldn't help but feel excited for whatever adventure awaited them next in the vast, mysterious universe. 3 weeks had passed since the eventful mission to the toxic planet. The Galactic Federation spaceship was now docked at a bustling space station, a hub of interstellar activity. Inside a large conference room, Commander Zixthor stood before a panel of high-ranking alien officials, his 4 eyes darting nervously between them. "And that concludes my report on the mission," Zixthor finished, his tentacles fidgeting slightly. The room was silent for a moment. Then, a tall, willowy alien with glowing skin spoke up. "Commander, while we appreciate your team's resourcefulness, we are concerned about the involvement of the human, Sarah Chen, and this K9 unit." Zixthor opened his mouth to respond, but before he could, the door to the conference room slid open. Sarah walked in, the K9 unit trotting faithfully by her side. "I apologize for the interruption," Sarah said confidently, "but I believed it was important for me to be here for this discussion." The willowy alien's skin pulsed with a faint red glow, a sign of irritation. "Ms. Chen, this is a closed meeting of the Galactic High Council. Your presence here is not appropriate." Sarah smiled disarmingly. "With all due respect, Counselor, I disagree. The mission we're discussing involved direct interaction with a new sentient species. As the Galactic Federation's human liaison, it's my duty to ensure that humanity's perspective is represented in such matters." The K9 unit let out a soft whir, as if in agreement. Another council member, a bulbous creature with multiple eye stalks, leaned forward. "And what exactly is humanity's perspective on this matter, Ms. Chen?" Sarah took a deep breath. "We believe that this mission has opened up an unprecedented opportunity for the Galactic Federation. The sentient creature we encountered on that planet demonstrated not only intelligence, but also a willingness to help other species." She gestured to the K9 unit. "Moreover, the success of our mission was largely due to the combination of advanced technology, represented by Buddy here, and human intuition and empathy. This partnership could be a model for future Galactic Federation operations." The council members murmured among themselves. Zixthor watched with a mixture of admiration and nervousness. He had come to respect Sarah's abilities, but he feared her boldness might upset the council. Suddenly, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed, and a computerized voice announced, "Warning! Unidentified vessel approaching. Hostile intent detected." The council members rose in panic, but Sarah remained calm. She turned to the K9 unit. "Buddy, can you tap into the station's sensors? Give us a visual on the approaching ship." The robot dog's eyes glowed as it processed the request. A holographic display appeared in the center of the room, showing a massive dark ship unlike anything they had seen before. "By the cosmic winds," one of the council members gasped. "It's the Void Hunters. They've found us." Sarah looked confused. "Void Hunters? Who are they?" Zixthor's face had turned a pale shade of green. "They're a group of intergalactic marauders. They raid advanced civilizations, stealing technology and resources. We've been trying to track them down for years." The station shuddered as the first volley of weapons fire hit its shields. Panic was spreading through the room, but Sarah's mind was racing. "Commander," she said urgently, "the plants we collected from the toxic planet. Do we still have samples on board our ship?" Zixthor nodded, not understanding where she was going with this. "And the worm-dragon creature's saliva, did we manage to collect any of that?" Again, Zixthor nodded. Sarah's eyes lit up. "I have an idea. But I'll need your trust and access to the station's main systems." The council members looked at each other uncertainly. Another blast rocked the station. "We don't have time for debate," Sarah insisted. "Please, trust me." After a moment of tense silence, the willowy alien nodded. "Do what you must, human. We have little to lose at this point." Sarah sprang into action. She and the K9 unit raced to the station's control center, with Zixthor close behind. Her fingers flew over the alien controls, guided by the K9 unit's translations. "What are you doing?" Zix Thor asked, watching in amazement. "Remember how we used the plant enzyme to neutralize the toxic spores?" Sarah explained as she worked. "I'm modifying that process. We're going to release a cloud of the enzyme, mixed with particles from the worm dragon saliva." Zix Thor's eyes widened in understanding. "The regenerative properties." Sarah nodded. "Exactly. If this works, it should temporarily fuse the Void Hunter's weapon systems, rendering them harmless." As the Void Hunter's ship moved in for another attack, Sarah activated her makeshift defense system. A shimmering cloud expanded from the station, enveloping the attacking vessel. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, abruptly, the weapons fire stopped. On the station's view screen, they could see the Void Hunter's ship drifting aimlessly, its weapon ports sealed shut by a metallic-looking substance. Cheers erupted throughout the station. The council members rushed to the control center, their faces a mix of relief and awe. "Ms. Chen," the willowy alien said, its skin now glowing a warm golden color, "it seems we owe you a debt of gratitude. Your quick thinking and unusual methods have saved us all." Sarah smiled, patting the K9 unit's head. "It was a team effort, and I think it proves what I was saying earlier. The combination of different species, technologies, and ways of thinking can lead to solutions we might never have imagined on our own." Zix Thor stepped forward. "I agree. In fact, I have a proposal for the council." He took a deep breath. "I believe we should establish a new division within the Galactic Federation, one that combines the best of our various species and technologies, focused on creative problem-solving and peaceful conflict resolution." The council members nodded in agreement, their earlier skepticism forgotten in the wake of their narrow escape. As the excitement died down and plans were made to secure the disabled Void Hunter ship, Sarah knelt down next to the K9 unit. "Well, buddy," she said softly, "looks like our adventures are just beginning. Ready for what comes next?" The robot dog wagged its tail and let out a series of happy beeps. Whatever challenges the vast universe had in store, they would face them together, human, alien, and machine united in the spirit of exploration and cooperation. 6 months had passed since the Void Hunter's attack on the space station. In that time, Sarah Chen, Commander Zix Thor, and the K9 unit had become the heart of the Galactic Federation's new Creative Solutions Division. Their unconventional methods had solved numerous crises across the galaxy, earning them both fame and some suspicion. Today, they stood in a high-security hangar, facing the captured Void Hunter ship. Despite months of study, the ship's technology remained a mystery. "We've tried everything," Zix Thor said, his 4 eyes blinking in frustration. "We can't break through their encryption or understand their power source." Sarah walked around the dark, imposing ship, the K9 unit scanning it constantly. "There's got to be something we're missing," she muttered. Suddenly, the K9 unit started beeping excitedly. Sarah rushed to check its readings. "Buddy's detected something," she exclaimed. "There's a faint signal coming from inside the ship. It's a distress call." Zix Thor's tentacles writhed in surprise. "Impossible. We've had this ship for months. How could there be anyone alive in there?" Sarah's face lit up with realization. "Unless they're in some kind of stasis. Commander, we need to get inside that ship now." After a heated debate with the Galactic Council, Sarah and Zix Thor got permission to enter the Void Hunter's vessel. With the K9 unit leading the way, they cautiously boarded the ship. The interior was dark and eerie. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls, and the air felt thick with an unknown energy. "This technology," Zix Thor whispered, "it's like nothing I've ever seen." The K9 unit led them deeper into the ship, following the distress signal. They arrived at what seemed to be the ship's core, a massive, pulsating sphere of dark energy. "By the cosmic winds," Zix Thor gasped. "Is that a contained black hole?" Before Sarah could respond, A hologram flickered to life before them. It showed a being that looked like a mix of energy and matter constantly shifting form. "Greetings," the being said, its voice echoing strangely. "I am the last of the architects, creators of the Void Hunters." Sarah stepped forward. "We received your distress call. Are you trapped in there?" The being's form rippled. "In a manner of speaking. I am bound to this ship, forced to power it with my own life force. The Void Hunters were our creation, meant to explore the darkest reaches of space. But they became corrupted, turning into the marauders you know." Zixthor's eyes widened. "You've been powering this ship for all this time. That's incredible." The architect's form dimmed slightly. "And terrible. I've been trying to sabotage the Void Hunters from within, but my power is fading. Soon, I will be gone, and the Void Hunters will be unstoppable." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. "How can we help you?" "There is a way," the architect said, "but it's dangerous. You would need to enter the black hole containment field and manually adjust its parameters. This would free me and neutralize the Void Hunters' technology across the galaxy." Zixthor shook his head vigorously. "Absolutely not. The radiation alone would kill any organic being instantly." Sarah looked thoughtful. "What about a non-organic being?" She turned to the K9 unit. "Buddy, could you do it?" The robot dog whirred and beeped, its tail wagging. "No," Zixthor protested. "Ms. Chen, you can't risk destroying your companion." Sarah knelt beside the K9 unit. "Buddy's not just a robot, Commander. He's been learning, growing. This is his choice to make." She looked into the robot dog's glowing eyes. "What do you say, boy? Are you up for saving the galaxy?" The K9 unit barked affirmatively, its tail wagging faster. With a heavy heart, Sarah and Zixthor watched as the K9 unit approached the containment field. The architect guided the robot dog through the process, its form growing brighter with each adjustment. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. "Warning," a computerized voice announced. "Containment field destabilizing. We need to get out of here," Zixthor yelled. Sarah hesitated, looking back at the K9 unit. "Buddy, come on." But the robot dog stood its ground, continuing its work even as energy crackled around it. "Go," the architect urged. "Your companion's sacrifice will not be in vain. The Void Hunters will trouble the galaxy no more." Tears in her eyes, Sarah allowed Zixthor to pull her from the ship. They barely made it to safety before a massive explosion rocked the hangar. When the dust settled, Sarah and Zixthor stared in awe at where the Void Hunter's ship had been. In its place was a swirling vortex of energy, beautiful and terrifying. From the vortex emerged a familiar shape, the K9 unit, but it was different now, its body glowing with the same shifting energy as the architect. "Buddy," Sarah whispered in disbelief. The K9 unit wagged its tail, but when it spoke, it was with the architect's voice. "Your companion's bravery and your trust in him created something unexpected. We have merged, becoming something new. The knowledge of the architects and the heart of your cute pup are now one." Zixthor's tentacles trembled in awe. What does this mean?" The glowing K9 unit turned its gaze to the stars visible through the hangar's force field. "It means a new era for the galaxy. The Void Hunters are no more, and we can now share the architect's knowledge with the Galactic Federation. But more importantly, we have learned the true power of trust, friendship, and sacrifice." Sarah wiped tears from her eyes, a smile breaking through. "So does this mean our adventures are over, buddy? Or should I say, architect?" The glowing dog wagged its tail playfully. "Over? My dear Sarah, they're just beginning. The universe is vast, and there's so much more to explore and discover. That is, if you're ready for more excitement." Sarah laughed, looking at Zixthor, who nodded enthusiastically. "Always," she said. "Lead the way, buddy." As the newly transformed K9 unit led them towards a bright, uncertain future, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at how far they'd come. From a simple beast to a galactic savior, Buddy had shown that appearances could be deceiving, and that the greatest power in the universe was the bond between different beings working together. The next chapter of their cosmic adventure was about to begin, and Sarah couldn't wait to see what wonders and challenges awaited them among the stars. A year had passed since the transformation of the K9 unit. Sarah Chen, Commander Zixthor, and the newly evolved Buddy Architect had become legends across the Galactic Federation. Their adventures had taken them to the farthest reaches of known space and beyond. Today, they stood on the bridge of their new ship, the Harmony. It was a marvel of technology, blending the best of Galactic Federation science with the advanced knowledge of the architects. Sarah stared out at the swirling colors of a nebula, lost in thought. Zixthor approached, his 4 eyes blinking in concern. "You seem troubled, Sarah," he said softly. Sarah sighed. "I was just thinking about how much has changed. Sometimes I wonder if I'm still needed here. Buddy has become so powerful." Before Zixthor could respond, alarms blared across the ship. The nebula in front of them began to twist and warp unnaturally. Buddy Architect's glowing form appeared beside them. "We have a problem," he announced, his voice a mix of the playful K9 unit and the wise architect. "I'm detecting a massive cosmic anomaly. It's unlike anything in the architect's records." The view screen showed a terrifying sight. A giant, swirling vortex was forming in the nebula, swallowing stars and planets. "By the cosmic winds," Zixthor gasped. "What is that thing?" Buddy Architect's form flickered with uncertainty. "It appears to be a tear in the fabric of space-time. If it continues to grow, it could consume our entire galaxy." Sarah's eyes widened. "Can we stop it?" "Perhaps," Buddy Architect replied. "But it will require something the architects never mastered: the power of organic intuition and emotion." Zixthor looked confused. "What do you mean?" Buddy Architect's form shifted, showing images of different alien species working together. "The anomaly is feeding off the natural chaos of the universe. To counter it, we need to generate a field of pure harmony, a perfect balance of different energies." Sarah nodded slowly, understanding dawning on her face. "And that's where we come in. Organic beings, with all our messy emotions and illogical thoughts." "Exactly," Buddy Architect confirmed. "I can provide the knowledge and the technology, but you, all of you, need to provide the heart." Over the next few hours, the Harmony raced across the galaxy, sending out an urgent call to all species of the Galactic Federation. Ships of all shapes and sizes began to arrive, forming a massive fleet around the growing anomaly. Sarah stood before the assembled representatives on the Harmony's main deck. Aliens of every conceivable form looked at her expectantly. "Friends," she began, her voice strong despite her nerves, "we face a threat unlike any we've encountered before. But I believe that's exactly why we'll overcome it. Our differences, the very things that once divided us, are now our greatest strength." She gestured to the view screen showing the swirling vortex. "That anomaly represents chaos and destruction. We will counter it with unity and creation. Each of us has a unique energy, a unique perspective. Together, we can create a harmony powerful enough to seal the rift." Zixthor stepped forward. "But how do we do that? We don't have time to learn some complex new technology." Sarah smiled. "We don't need to. All we need to do is what organic beings do best: feel. Think of what matters most to you. Your home, your loved ones, your dreams for the future. Focus on those feelings and direct them towards the anomaly." Buddy Architect's form expanded, connecting to the ship's systems. "I will channel your collective energy and amplify it. But remember, the power comes from you." As the anomaly grew larger, threatening to engulf nearby star systems, the assembled aliens closed their eyes. The air in the ship seemed to thicken with emotion. Love, hope, determination, all flowed together in a vibrant stream. Buddy Architect began to glow brighter, drawing in the energy. Beams of light shot out from the Harmony and the surrounding ships, meeting at the edge of the vortex. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. The anomaly continued to grow. Sarah felt fear creep into her heart, but she pushed it aside, focusing instead on her journey, on the friendships she'd made, on her love for the wonders of the universe. Suddenly, the edge of the vortex began to shimmer. Slowly, ever so slowly, it started to shrink. "It's working," Thor shouted, his tentacles waving excitedly. The assembled aliens cheered, their collective joy adding to the energy field. The anomaly shrank faster, collapsing in on itself. With a final, blinding flash of light, the vortex disappeared. Where it had been, stars now twinkled peacefully. As the cheers died down, Sarah turned to Buddy Architect. "I don't understand. You have all the knowledge of the architects. Why couldn't you stop this on your own?" Buddy Architect's form shifted, showing images of their adventures together. Because, Sarah, the architects, for all their knowledge, forgot the most important thing: the power of connection. It was you, your humanity, that taught me that. And it was all of you together that made this victory possible. Thor nodded thoughtfully. "So what happens now?" Sarah looked out at the assembled fleet, at the diverse beings who had come together to save their galaxy. Now we keep exploring, keep learning from each other. There's still so much out there we don't understand." As if to prove her point, a strange signal began to emanate from where the anomaly had been. Buddy Architect's form rippled with excitement. "It seems our adventure is far from over," he said. "That signal, it's an invitation to somewhere beyond our known universe." Sarah and Thor looked at each other, then at the expectant faces of their galactic allies. A smile spread across Sarah's face. "Well," she said, "what are we waiting for? Let's go see what's out there." As the Harmony prepared to lead the fleet into the unknown, Sarah felt a sense of purpose stronger than ever before. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Human, alien, and hybrid, united in the greatest adventure of all.